me, I think the biggest struggle was the sleep thing. My two are like 6 and 3 now and they still don't sleep through the night. I don't know how women do it. And I don't know whether it's because I was quite soft and I didn't like to let them cry, or everybody told me don't let them sleep in your bed, you know, you mustn't fall asleep with a child on you. And I was so conscious of it. Have you ladies got any tips on children sleeping through the night? Because mine are 6 and 3 now and I still struggle with that. There's like 4 in a bed every morning.
Because everyone said, oh, by the time he's 1, he'll have slept, and no, he didn't.
I was going to say, my first son was a nightmare. He didn't sleep for the night till he was 10 months. I never let him self-settle. I would rock him, tickle him, you know, feed him to sleep. After a few hours of being asleep, he would sort of come to, look for me, and then cry.
Every night when we go to bed, Mummy, can you get me to sleep? I'm like, Spike, you're 6. We don't need Mummy to get you to sleep. Can you just, he wants me to scratch his head till he goes to sleep, or tickle his back till he goes to sleep. Yeah, he's asleep in 5 minutes if I do that, but if I don't do that, we have 2 hours of tantrums and I'm not going to bed then and all this kind of stuff. Really, they should just be going to bed when I say bed, but they don't.
Maybe by giving something else that he could do on his own to be his routine empowers him to then say, right, well, this is my time.
For me, I find that everything was very different with my second child than my first, because I learnt my lessons. I think from the beginning, just having no sleep, it's just, it's become the norm, whereas with my little girl, I was very different, and we kind of had the cot as an extension on our bed with like no side on. So I ended up in her cot, and then slowly through the night she'd end up in my bed. And actually she's a lot better in bed. She'll go to bed now when we'll say, come on Elkie, it's bedtime now, she'll go.
So if you were to put in that boundary that I said, when you are home, I feel it would be so important to still stick to it. Even if you want to go, I'm going to come and lie with you, and no, I've said this is your time or whatever he's doing. I think it's so important, because that children need those boundaries. They need that consistency, don't they?
But I was completely different with my second son as well. Like from day one, I was like self-settle, and he's an amazing sleeper. And I think I just learnt my lessons.
Done that though.
I did. I just
next time.
Yeah, no, it really works. It really does work. So for me, it's routine, having a bedtime routine, and then self-settling are the main.
I was just going to ask, so the number one thing you should do when you bring your baby home from the hospital is routine.
Definitely.
Elkie was a lot better than Spike, and what I found really helped me is hypnobirthing. I did that with my second child. And they say that it gives you a much calmer baby who sleeps more, and actually that I found that works. So basically hypnobirthing is like a training that they give you. I personally had a midwife and she came to my house and we did a one-on-one, and you have 5 sessions. It's only 5 sessions. They give you CDs to listen to and you practice kind of clearing your mind, and you know, all the women that I've spoke to that have done it have been like, oh my God, it was amazing, you know, because you become a much calmer person.
That's what I was going to say. The fact that you're calm,
it in turn makes your baby calm.
Yeah, another tip though is definitely to go with your mother's instinct.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
you know best, and also my first son that wasn't a good sleeper, I felt like he had a bit of reflux or something wrong with his wind, and I think if I had sort of gone with that instinct, the doctors were like, oh no, but actually maybe I should have let him sleep on his front and tried a bit of Gaviscon, or, you know, so I think there's a lot to be said for mother's instinct.
There is going to be trial and error, but if you have a checklist, if you don't do anything, then how are you ever going to know?
If there's a question that you don't know the answer to, it's because nobody's ever told you. And it's the same with children. You know, you feel sometimes as a new mum that you might be a bit stupid because you don't know things, but actually how do you know if you don't ask? And actually, you know, you must do what you feel is right.
And books are terrible for that. Sometimes you read a book and you're like, oh, I must, why isn't my baby doing this? But your baby isn't in the textbook, you know, it's your baby, so you need to sort of take it with a pinch of salt.
Like within the first couple of days, I'd know if he was hungry or if he needed a nappy change, and it just kind of became quite easy.
But because there's so much information on the internet, like if I do have a question about being pregnant, I'll Google it and then I'll be there for ages thinking, oh my goodness, is this normal?
My mum just said, you will know, just believe in yourself, you will know. And she was absolutely right. You know, the doctors, when I was at the hospital, they were there saying, you need to be in hospital to have this baby. And I said, no. My instinct was, I know I will be calmer and happier at home. That worked for me by listening to what my needs were. And I think, like you say, it is about what your needs are, what your baby's needs are. You will know. There's a lot of information, missold information out there.
Hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe on the button below.